I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do.
Back with part 2 of the first Monday rant of December, the first rant of December. And in lieu of a Christmas party this year, we are hosting a masterclass in Melbourne, which is set down for the 9th of March. It's the Sunday of the long weekend down there. It's the day after the All-Star Mile and the Newmarket. We're having talks with Betfair. It seems likely that we will actually have it at Betfair HQ, which will also give ranters a chance to poke around Betfair and see what happens under the hood there. So
bring your bugs.
Put that in your diary. You need 3 months gold, and you'll get a spot in the Melbourne Masterclass. As I say, at this stage, 9th of March, at this stage at Betfair HQ, which is in the city in Melbourne. So that's something to look forward to. What's also to look forward to is the week ahead, which is Warwick Farm 6 event card on Wednesday. We'll have a preview for and a top-up show and the yard. We'll also be doing the yard for Friday, which is obviously after the preview show on Friday for Saturday's Rose Hill. So it's a bonanza this week, 3 metro meetings. I mean, there are a few weeks with 3 metro meetings, obviously Canterbury Friday night, which is a touch different. Gord, did you get involved in Canterbury last Friday night with the rain teaming down?
No, not much. No, that's not my cup of tea. And earlier on, Glenn, geez, it was very fancy, wasn't it? So
yeah, it was very fancy. I did bring Gordon to get involved because I thought it was a bit on fire the fence, but
the thing is, I really wanted to back that Gerringong, but I didn't have it getting that kind of a run.
Well, a Gaybot getting led is always a worry, but yeah, it did have sparkling triform, and of course the others were tied together from that Nasher.
I think after the race, I went down and give Timmy a cheer because I wanted it. I think I didn't quite catch what he said, but I think he said, "I go all right from behind." Little smart ass.
Yeah, I did. Good on him.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, the other person that goes okay is the Glenston. Now, apologies to those of you who watched last week's show. This is a reread of an email from last week's show, but because the Glenston was away, we have to read it again.
Oh, the boys down south.
Yeah, so just to...
hello to those school teachers. Can you get some of your kids in your class to lose some weight? Just do me one fucking favour, please. What's going on with this fucking country? Can I just jump in before there, Mark? I saw a funny thing at Saturday race. It just came to some big fat dude at the races. I don't mind adults being fat because you get to make a choice. That doesn't bother me at all. You'll choose what we... some boys like sticking in other boys, and everybody's different. We're all adults. Make your own choices. But I get dirty with the kids being fat. But he turned up and he was a big, fat, jolly fella. And he was dressed as a jockey. He had the white silks on. He had the big purple and black colours and the hat cap. He brought a whip. He looked really clever. Not clever, but look like he's at a party. So then I saw him talking to some bookies clerks later on, and he just caught my eye because he was spruiking. And he had these funny little shorts on and a T-shirt. And he said, the security made me take it off. They said you can't be a jockey on course. You can't be dressed like a jockey. Which sure enough, about an hour later, I see him back in his outfit. Next thing, the security turned him off, walked him off course. What I can't like to know is why do we get 120-kilo girls with see-through minis on, a G-banger, and high shoes, and their tits hanging out, and that's okay to parade around in, but a bloke can't wear a jockey outfit. That's what I'd like to know. I might be ringing the club this week to get some ruling on it.
Look forward to that.
It's just ridiculous. God, they're coppers out there.
You can wear fancy dress to any sporting event, can't you?
Not the rest you can't. In fact, I don't think they're terribly keen on the hen and the buck being dressed up at the party type thing, the number one person. I think I'm going to get on Navesh, get our man, my new man Navesh on top of this because it irritates me. People having fun and then you walked off. How could you be dressed like a jockey and walked off?
I don't know. We wait with bated breath.
Some of the little kids turn up as jockeys. They don't walk the little kids off when they're 4.
Someone who wasn't dressed up at Kembla is this man.
He did a giggle this morning.
So there's Glenster with the best dressed Dick Dragger. You
one of the boys
this week, of course, for those of you that saw it then. And it's Dicko that goes on to write in saying, just thought I'd email in to say how happy I was with the setup of Rosehill's replacement track for Gong Day at Kembla. There were bells, whistles, and everything in between. All the excitement that Glenn goes to the races for. Early in the day, one of my good mates miraculously won the male's fashion in the field contest. I say miraculously because the kit he decided to wear had no right to win a Mount Druitt fashion show, let alone Kembla. We sought out Glenn and my mate couldn't wait to tell him that he'd won. Draped in his winning sash, he began telling him that he'd entered the show, but before he could even say he won, Glenn blurted out, "Why? Why would you enter that?"
I did think that.
If we thought he was filthy that a ranter won the fashions on the field contest, he was even filthier when he found out that first place got him 3,000 worth of skincare products. Sneaking here, a free members ticket saw me bumping into a few ladies from a school near mine. Glenn tipped the house down on the mounting yard and I relayed every tip to these women who ended up cleaning up from modest means. When they probed how I was doing this, I told them there is one of the best punters in New South Wales here at the track and I pay for his info. This sparked their interest and they were keen to see where he was. Is he in the Bert Lilly lounge or in the grandstand or something? I simply replied, go inside to the betting ring and check out the grumpy bloke in a flannel hunched over his laptop, solo in the darkest corner he can find. That's him. Certainly no bells and definitely no whistles.
Yeah, none of the girls turned up. The old Silver Fox got left out again. Good story of my life. But that was so good.
Yeah, sorry, go.
That was so good when they first bloke introduced. I can't remember their names. They're school teachers. How would you remember their names? Anyway, he come along and he said, "Oh my," and he went. I could tell he was a ranter. He sort of rang a bell, but he said, "One of the dick draggers from one of the dick." He said something like that. I thought he said his name was Dick Dragon.
That's his stage name.
So anyway, then I rang a bell to me. Oh no, they're Dick Dragon. They're the boys from Wollongong. So, and then old mates won the prize with a black shirt. I don't know who wears a black shirt and that look, but and I don't know how that wins, but you must have been up against.
You didn't see the rest of the field, Glenn.
Yeah, I didn't see the field.
There was only one entry.
Yeah.
Isn't it funny that the people that don't go to the races or know gambling very well, they think that like the person who's standing nowhere near the bookmakers but in a fancy suit is the one that's likely to be the professional gambler.
Yeah.
Like they just get it completely wrong, don't they? They got no idea.
No idea. Yeah. No idea.
By the way, Glenn, I've found a song that I want you to listen to when you get the chance. It's called Rich Men North of Richmond. It's an American country song by Oliver Anthony, and there's a line in there about obese people, and I think it'll appeal to you greatly.
Oh, so, I'm not dirty on obese people. That's their business. But I will listen to it for sure. And just quickly, what Gordon said, I just want to say a big congratulations to my granddaughter Gracie, because she won her first ever dance competition, which just is outstanding. She's only 5 or 6, whatever fucking age she is, and she come and told me, "Grandpa, I won my first." And then I said, "That is so good, so fantastic." And then as she chuffed off to the swing, my son, her father said, "Dad, she was the only entrant."
In the under 5 category.
Another walkover.
But I said to my son, a first is always a first.
Well, the thing with kids these days, even if there are 5 entries, there's 5 winners.
It's
terrible. It goes to that ET school down there at the Shire. It's just, let me just put it this way, ET is doing very well. Andrew,
this guy, is he doing any good? You asked about him the other day.
Oh, that's Nathan Tinkler, huh?
There he is. He's been spotted, and I'll read you.
So that's at a car race or something like that?
Well, I'll read you the story, Gord. This is from the Financial Review. Famed casino mogul Steve Wynn once quipped that Las Vegas is the way God would do it if he had the money. And yes, it's had its fair share of visitors with biblical amounts of cash, though there are exceptions. Our spies did a double take last weekend, seeing a large trundler in chinos and blazers striding down the pit lane of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Could it be? It was. This country's former youngest rich man, Nathan Tinkler, looked to be shepherded by a race-suited staff member of the Sauber racing team. Earlier this year, Sauber struck a major sponsorship deal with Stake, the Australian crypto casino. The owner of that is named Ed Craven. is currently the Australia's youngest paper billionaire, who must be laughing with another upswing in global crypto prices. His company is wildly popular because it allows online customers to use crypto to deposit into betting accounts. Would you believe the Australian company isn't licensed to take bets at home? But Tinkler's presence as its VIP raises some questions like, why? Is he a valued customer of Stake? Turns out Tinkler was given 4 comps at his request. So that's
4 comps. What does that mean?
Complimentary tickets to the
4 complimentary tickets.
Look, as if blokes like Tinkler, haven't stuck money in various people when they get that wealthy, they don't go bankrupt. Yeah.
Or if they do, they've got money.
But by the way, it sounds like that company, DZ's company, Mark.
Yeah,
what's it called? Because that sounds very similar.
Yeah, I the name just escapes me as well.
But I thought when you become a bankrupt, you're not allowed to leave the country.
I don't think he is a bankrupt, is he?
Oh, good to see he's bankrupt.
Well, he did. Well, there was some sort of thing about how he lost everything. So
but it's only 3 years, isn't it, Glenn?
I think it is only 3. Yeah.
But I thought he'd already sort of started shuffling stuff off to Singapore before officially he went bankrupt. Yeah, and Singapore is quite friendly, isn't it? As far as when you're putting money into the country and stuff like that.
It's a bit like the Scandinavian country. What's it called?
Switzerland.
Yeah.
The Scandinavian country.
I'm in the middle there.
That's the Scandinavian country.
By the way,
Switzerland.
I mean, Switzerland just seems Scandinavian. It does, doesn't it, Glenn? Even though
isn't it Scandinavian?
No, it's in the middle of Europe. Scandinavia is in the north.
Scandinavia
is the north of Europe.
I thought Switzerland.
Scandinavia is Denmark, Norway, Sweden.
And Switzerland. No,
I'm with you, but for some reason or other, it's got that vibe.
Well, the funny thing is that our Southeast Asian correspondent says, pretty sure the Jelko story should have referred to Portuguese trots, not Polish trots.
Oh, okay. I knew it started with P.
Was it Portuguese?
Was it Portuguese, was it?
Portuguese.
Don't worry about the detail with me. It's the vibe. I'm telling you, it's Mambo.
That's right. Yeah, it's Switzerland, that Scandinavian country.
You know what I mean.
Macca writes, hello, Mark. Check this link out. Werribee Racing Club renamed Picklebet Park. Official. It's official. The industry in Victoria has reached all-time lows. I wonder if they'll refuse my entry to the racecourse like the many punters they've cut off for winning what they deem too much on their app since launching 7 years ago. So look out for Picklebet Park, aka Werribee Races.
They've just gone mad with the marketing lately, Picklebet, haven't they? So their performance or their treatment of customers is on the down, but they've obviously worked out that treatment of customers isn't the most important thing for a bookmaker. It's actually just spending money on marketing.
Yeah.
That's all they are. They're just marketing.
Fresh blood. Yeah. Or recycled blood, as the case may be. Good old Josh, who writes that I'm catching up on the last couple of weeks. If this hasn't been shown here, it is, we shall watch and listen for the name. So let's go to the footage here, which is coming up as soon as I can bloody cue it up. Here we go. It's Norma's Tits at Sandown.
Oh, Norma's Tits. Wow.
Norma's Tits.
Recording time of 30 and 28. Starting signal now, moving in. Getting set now. The favourite Devon Magic's been good support though for Norma Stitz, number 1, 3 even.
Good support.
$8.50 Smokies Reprieve, $9 Speed Signal. Race number 2.
That's good.
Almost set. There's the green light.
This is a long time ago, isn't it?
Boxed and ready to go now. They're ready. Racing. Norma Stitz bounced out okay near the inside, away pretty fast there. Devon Magic's gone to the lead. Over on the inside there, Norma Stitz is running second. They were followed further back by Tigerific third. Going out to the tail of the field, Crack Vision and also Connemara Cruz. Down the back they go, Devon Magic the leader. Led by about 5 lengths down to Norma Stitz, and they were followed further back then by Tigerific.
Norma Stitz.
3 lengths further back would have been Flash Capers. Well back then came Speed Signal, followed by Smokies Reprieve into the straight though. And Devon Magic is well clear. And Devon Magic's won by about 8 or 10 lengths. thanks to the good of second placing Enormous Tits, and they were followed by Tigerific back on the inside. Flashcapers followed by Speed Signal well back. Last couple there, Connemara Cruise, and also
people are
Crack Vision.
very clever, aren't they?
Easy when the Devon Magic bolting
I
at
didn't even get
Sandown
that. I just thought it was
at
Norma's
280
tits.
and $1
I didn't even get it was
bring
Enormous Tits.
2, 1 and 4. 1937
And
was the
it's
second
funny
section.
how, like, the race caller,
And the
like,
race
the
time
first
was
time
30 and 12.
he
30
calls
and
it,
12, the time
it's
at
close
Sandown
to what
for
it
race
is,
number 2,
but
2, 1
as
and
it
4.
goes on,
the numbers.
he gets closer to Enormous Tits.
And you feel like you can hear a little giggle in his voice.
Yeah.
Just a quirkiness.
Even like he was pausing to say the name when it went across the line second. He gave himself like a half a second there.
Yeah, it was renamed to Shane's Lady after its first start. So that was its first start, but well supported was Norma's
So
Tip.
obviously Shane's Lady
Well
had
supported,
a pair of...
Well
But
supported.
obviously Shane's Lady had a decent rack as well, I'd assume. That's why they changed it to that name. So.
Very clever.
And Josh goes on to say, I thought some may like this. I'm afraid to post it on social media, but not here. Community TV was pretty wild. So they're potting a short price favourite in this particular video that Josh has suggested we watch. Let's go. It's from 1997, Channel 31.
A status and some opinions about it, and you blame Danny Power.
Yes.
So is Danny also not a likely chairperson of the Status fan club?
Well, Danny's no rap for the breeding of the horse. Apparently, this did get an airing on Pacing Extra one night, and I think Danny jumped up and down and basically labelled the horse a cat or a pufter or something like that. I don't know if you're allowed to use that word.
We'll withdraw that.
Okay, we'll withdraw that comment. But no, it's proved a handy racehorse since. In fact, it's probably belied what Danny's feelings on the horse were. But I agree with Danny to a certain extent. It probably has been overrated in the past. But this season came back with a clean slate. Its form's been good. I mean, look at it. It's had 4.
I think that's what he wanted us to see. That
Yeah,
there was a bit of ranting on Channel 31
back in the day.
Fair enough.
No, we've even cut that out now, haven't we? Because we did start off calling them cats and puffs, didn't we? Horses that didn't want to win.
Yeah, but then TQ sent us some emails.
Yeah.
Can you clean up your act there? Fair enough,
Yeah.
TQ.
And
Big hello to
sure.
TQ. Merry Christmas, TQ. We did, I saw her a couple of weeks ago, I suppose.
yeah, now you'll see her when you.
By the way, I saw a funny skit yesterday. They had this old grandma, Mark and Glenn, and they kept on asking her questions where the answer was addicted. Like, if you take drugs all the time, what are you? You're addicted. If you drink all the time, what are you? You're addicted. And then they asked her, like after a number of these, so she just had this answer in her head, what slapped you in the face last night? And she goes, addicted. And this like real friendly old lady. What slapped you in the face last night?
Oh dear.
Addicted.
Yeah, that was a good setup, wasn't it? Anyway, Josh goes on to say, and I'm sure Gordo would love the whip use from the 400 in this video I'm about to show. The short fave did go down, but at least the driver was trying. So where is this one? It is coming to you now.
He's a she on the inside of Forevermore, and last of the 5, Zap Power off the back. Status kicking back, but Magic Lord has got his head in front of Status, who's under some pressure now. Magic Lord's drawn a metre and a half in front before the turn from Status under the whip, and Forevermore's going to have a last crack at them on the outside. Magic Lord a metre in front of Status, turning. Here's Forevermore, 3 out. Magic Lord led into the straight. Forevermore's after at the outside. Forevermore goes up to hit the lead from Magic Lord. Forevermore in front for Gordon Turner getting the treble, and Forevermore draws away Zap Power and Status for third, but Forevermore.
We were watching the one on the inside that ran third or fourth.
Yeah, and that was the $1.10 favourite. That was the one they were talking about being overrated and not.
My thing is, every one of those jockeys is belting the crap out of their horses.
Yeah. Well, that's 25 years ago.
Yeah. You call drivers good, not jockeys, but I knew what you meant.
Well, they wear the funny little gear.
Yeah. If they went to Roseville Racecourse, I think they'd get asked to leave.
Yeah, they would.
I'm a trot driver.
Exactly. Pretty funny. Thanks for that, Josh. That's there's some good viewing in some of Paul Lang's TV replays. He videotaped the TV, back in the day, and he's uploaded most of his videos to YouTube. which we have seen snippets of from time to time. So Anthony Cummings, you mentioned him being in the news last week, Glenn.
Well, I just mentioned it, but I just hope he's going okay.
The 68-year-old could be forced to vacate Leilani Lodge as Racing New South Wales investigates the collapse of his training company and assesses his suitability to hold a licence. The liquidator's report says that Cummings' business Ross Carberry Holdings is being wound up with $4.2 million claimed by unsecured creditors, one of whom is Anthony. Almost half of that is loans made to the company by Cummings himself, as well as by his wife Bernadette and another related party, Anthony Cummings Thoroughbreds. The report by insolvency firm DW Advisory said the ATO had pursued it for debts of $1.3 million and the further $800,000 was outstanding to other trade creditors. Employees were also due $150,000 in superannuation. It's likely the company engaged in insolvent trading, but further investigation may be required. He listed failure to maintain adequate books and records and acting recklessly and not in good faith in the best interest of the corporation or not for proper purpose, as are the possible breaches of the Corporations Act. The liquidator drew attention to the reduction of a loan from Anthony Cummings Thoroughbreds by $300,000 in the past year and payments made to the creditors of another company of his that was placed into liquidation 5 years ago. Cummings says, I acted in good faith at all times. Anthony says, the reality is the biggest debts owed by the train company are to me, my wife, and my thoroughbred company. That's a matter of fact. I've had discussions with the majority of people involved. There's no issue here. He's continuing to train dozens of horses at Randwick, hopes to reform a partnership with Edward under Edward, the 38-year-old's company, Myrtle House. Edward's already transferred his horses to Dad's stables and offered a number of Anthony's employees work and assumed or paid out annual leave entitlements, according to the liquidator. But after being issued with a show cause notice by Racing New South Wales, it's unclear whether Anthony Cummings will be cleared by the regulator to continue trading. Racing New South Wales declined to comment. Cummings attributed the company's failure to a lack of on-track performance of horses, while its the external accountant also ascribed responsibility to clients paying slower during the cost of living crisis. Apparently, the company is owed $260,000, of which $75,000 has been clawed back, and employees could expect to recover between 31 cents and 41 cents in the dollar of unpaid super, with Cummings having made payments covering 2 months. But the company's accountant advised that Cummings had assets totaling $979, as well as liabilities of $50,000 and multiple personal guarantees, concluding on the surface it appears that Mr. Cummings does not have the capacity to pay in the event of a judgment against him. Blah, 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 blah. So that's the Anthony Cummings unfolding saga.
Seems interesting. Hopefully he's not doing the old, run the company dry. You know how, if you've got a company and it's got some good stuff but a lot of bad stuff, so it's got no value, you suck the good stuff out to where you can keep it and then you just run the rest dead. And then it folds up. So you keep all the good stuff, all the profits, and
but I wonder who actually holds the license. I presume it's him.
But it seems like if he's lending the money to the dead duck, then I suppose there's a way you could.
He's trying to keep it going.
That out. Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that it seems like that's the case. It doesn't seem like he's doing what I suggested, which is some bad businessman or how there's so many construction companies. They go out, they make a min, and then as soon as something goes wrong, they just file for ranks and shut up and then open up in another name. A week later or something like that. That's why whenever you're going to get somebody to do construction work for you, you really want to check about how long they've been in business. And if they've not been in business for a long time, then be very cautious.
Or more elsewhere. But hopefully it's all right for him, and I hope he keeps his license. My mail was that basically Mile wanted his stables and Racing New South Wales, so we get rid of him.
Okay.
Wouldn't you think that Cummings had a stack of pull?
Well, he's been a bad boy from time to time, hasn't he? I don't think he's that. I mean, he's got friends.
It's a big surname, though. It's a big surname. It should carry some weight.
Yeah.
He might have used up that goodwill. Who knows? Who knows? But speaking of trainers at Randwick, well, Snowden has downsized, so Anthony and Sam Friedman have got 30 boxes at Randwick. 30 of those boxes.
He's downsized, Peter, is he?
Yep.
So the sum went. Now he's downsizing.
Yeah. Well, I think he's already downsized. So there's 30 boxes.
Is he on the way to retirement? Do you think, Peter Snowden?
I think he'll become the new shampoo man.
I don't disagree with that.
He did have a first starter win yesterday, Burge. On other ATC news, we have the report from the AGM last Thursday, where our good man ranter Brad Harris was a contestant for directorship.
And he did particularly well.
He did. Hi, Mark. The ATC held its AGM, where the voting concluded. Tim Hale, the current deputy chair, and Annette English, a Scone-based lawyer, was successful from 10 candidates. Tim must have shaken hands with every one of his 787 votes, probably on multiple occasions, around the racetracks as he desperately fought to retain his position, and well earned in the end. Second and third ranking went to the two candidates campaigning under the Save Rose Hill Group banner. I had raised concerns with the club over SRG's tactics, which nevertheless proved effective with their formidable media profile, member database and networks. This was the political lesson for me that politics is not really a contest of ideas. It's all about the ground game. It's about who controls or can best corral the blocks of votes available amongst the various networks in racing. For the 362 people that voted for me, that's a lot more than family and friends. I got terrific support and it's very much appreciated. Much of my support would have come through the Racing Rant community, so thank you for that, and to you, Mark, personally for your backing. I had an agenda that I wanted to pursue and I was particularly keen to contribute on the Rosehill issue. It's not to be and is up to others now. Total votes of 3,700 versus 700 at the last election was a good turnout and a positive sign of member engagement with the Rosehill sale vote coming up. The AGM was otherwise well attended and some interesting matters raised in the open forum. The financial reports were presented in a question time held on this in the Rosehill sale process, and later a separate Q&A held on general business. The chairman controlled the meeting well, didn't get out of hand, although some robust questions were asked of the board. It would be too long an email to report all matters of interest, but a few are outlined here. Re the Rosehill sale, 320,000 spent to date, with a further 800,000 projected on consultant reports ahead of the April the 3rd EGM members' vote. A former AJC chairman raised the point that the club must put a no case to members with consultant backup, in addition to the club advocating for the sale, which was well put. The ability of the club to hold on to Rosehill sale funds versus Racing New South Wales industry or government calls on that money was debated. A future fund setup was mentioned. A speaker from the floor suggested that back in the day, racing got 73% of TAB's wagering distribution, the rest went to trots and dogs, and 60% went directly to the AJC STC. We get a fraction of this money now. A few speakers talked about efforts to seek an improved and less arbitrary distribution of wagering dollars between Racing New South Wales and the club. The Mervac development agreement over part of the excess Canterbury land is progressing again after some regulatory hurdles were recently overcome. The Everest was capped at 50,000 by police request, but they estimated they could have got 57,000. The club is trying to develop an infield solution for future years to expand the crowd further. And some good discussion around how to attract memberships, which have been stagnant around 12,000. It was noted that many youngsters on track on the big days aren't actually watching the races, and so are they really being converted into long-term supporters? Pony clubs was advocated as a future source of young members that should be targeted.
What the fuck? Pony clubs? I think I'd do it racing.
Well,
Is Kathy O'Hara still there trying to learn to ride?
Maybe. Anyway, here's the breakup of the final vote as supplied by Brad. So Tim Hale, 787, which I think is a relatively poor showing from an incumbent that absolutely
that result for Brad is absolutely sensational.
It is.
It's a damn shame he doesn't get a spot with it, but to get 10% when it's all stacked against you, that's fantastic.
I thought it was outstanding.
Yeah, and so Lindsay Murphy missed out.
And we thought he was a shoo-in.
Anyway, so that's the end of that. Moving on, Gary, who's a good emailer, and I'm sorry I missed this last week, Gary. Hi, Ranters. I'm often amazed as to how racehorse owners name their horses. Well, this is sort of apropos of Normus Tiss, I guess. Some are ingenious and others are just dumb. An ingenious example is Maccabee Diva, who was named after Tony Santic's 5 female employees, Maureen, Kylie, Belinda, Diane, and Vanessa. Just take the first 2 letters of their names. Does anyone know how the name Briasa originated? Anyway, here's one from the ages. A horse raced in Melbourne called Tispura. It's a very interesting name for a racehorse. Just spell it backwards.
So Septura, what is it backwards?
Tispura, are you pissed?
Are you pissed? Yeah, good. Good name for us to have a horse.
I like it.
My
favourite is my favourite. My favourite will always be Richard Cranium. Like,
that's funny.
That's my favourite. Yeah.
It was a racehorse, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was. It's a standout.
Was it South Australia? I think it used to do a lot of running around down there.
Can't recall, but it did get through.
Say, Normus Stitz is second pick.
Yeah, but I mean greyhound racing. Come on.
Still got to be named.
So Dylan
you can imagine the person that's checking the names in the greyhound office. I'm saying, like, he's smoking a Winnie Red and he's got 6 teeth.
Yeah.
He just ticks them off.
Big hello to the greyhounds who do their best. I mark just an FYI that Dylan Gibbons had a shoulder operation this week. Dylan will be out for at least 10 weeks.
Maybe more. Shoulders are really important for jockeys. And they're hard to fix.
You're asking where Dylan is.
That's what's where it was. So at least we know. That's good.
There's a couple of things to take on that. Is that maybe that's why his form has been down, because he's riding with a dodgy shoulder. Yeah. But there's also a scary thing is that when you have keeping your weight down when you've had a major op, that can be really difficult as well.
Yeah, sitting around, nothing to do, miles to eat.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's got a vibrant girlfriend. Keep him busy 3 times a day.
Good and bad there. Good and bad.
I had a drink during the week with a couple of boys up the road, and they're all $5 and $10 each way punters up at the club, and just, not trying to be punters, just talking about betting. And to a man, all of them said how disengaged they'd become with racing, how they actually found it a bit too hard now, which is fair enough. But one bloke, he said, I'm quite happy to do my 200 a week. I enjoy looking forward to it because, every weekend in about the 4th month, I might win 1,500 because I think they have their 5 each way on 25 chances. One lobs, the bets start to get a bit bigger. They've just found the last year that that's not happening anymore. Just continually lose and the high percentages and all this overtaxation, and they can see it even on their smaller gambling dollar and how they're basically retiring from our great sport, which is unfortunate. So
what are they doing instead?
Drinking. Drinking.
Look, for me,
if I'm right with the PVL mail and he leaves our great industry this week, he can look back on the fact that when he ran the trots, he ran it right till there wasn't one cunt left, and he's done nearly the same thing with on course at the races. So great performance here. 10 years in the trots and 20 years at the races. Moved the trots to fucking Menangle. It's a ghost town, and so is Warwick Farm and Canterbury on Wednesday. So I don't know what to say to you, PVL, except bon voy fucking age.
Oh, Jesus, self-promotion and marketing genius, Like, it's so many
got the Everest right, got one day right out of the year, but hasn't. I personally don't think he's helped wagering at all. All these stupid departments in at Racing New South Wales. Just
when you talk to Glenn, when you talk to the young kids these days, it's sports multis, mate. They don't realise how bad they're getting robbed.
I know.
They just don't realise.
But they think they're looking at a collect on a on a series of contests,
on a 5-way thing. Yeah. 130%, 130%, 125%, 130%, 130%.
It's not looking too good, is it?
And they get the 40 to 1 chance up. Unfortunately, they should have got 160s.
What about when they're backing first try scorers and stuff like that to get their odds up? And what are those markets at? About 160, you reckon, or something like that?
It's just terrifying.
Minimum.
But anyway, that blokes have betted their whole life at giving the game away from betting. So it doesn't look good for the new bloke coming in, whoever it is, but hopefully he's got some idea to improve wagering, to lower percentage, make life easier for bookies, get more bookies back on track, give incentives to bookies to come back and work, and to get people at the track wagering instead of the thoroughfare we have at Rosehill. Well, every person just goes in, walks through there like they're walking through a corridor to the, the bars and all the good people. And then when you have too much fun, you get asked to leave. Like, I won't be around long enough anymore in this game to.
Yeah, but it's the ATC, Glenn. They get a pittance from the tab. They're not connected to wagering.
Well, someone better be connected to it because neither's the CEO.
No.
So no one's connected to wagering.
Well, no, PVL came up with race fields. I don't know who gave him that good idea, but he was the one that instituted it, and that has been the new golden goose.
Odds and evens, you come up with that.
I do think that you have to admit that there's no going back to the old days.
And no, I'm not saying that. I don't want people dropping off altogether.
But we have to change.
Yeah.
Like those bookmakers at the racetrack, I don't know what ideas they could come up with, but they've got to change if they're going to attract people wanting to bet with them. I don't know whether they've got to put neon signs up and all this kind of stuff and make it all pretty. And
if it wasn't so small and car scored, that's why no one goes. But if all of a sudden it was 3 times the size of bookies, the pros would come back. I know you wouldn't. You don't handle the track well. You got your happy place, the leather undies. But they've made it impossible with taxation, and it's just not good for them.
They don't want pros, Glenn. They think the pros are they're with the bookies. Oh, we don't want the pros. We don't want to turn over big money. We just want all the dollar punters in the land.
Is that what the bookies think you're saying?
No, that's what the administration thinks.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, they're being told they shouldn't be relying on wagering. So they're going, oh, we've got to have more stitches and craft and knife shows.
Mark, they're not aware of how they make money, which is from turnover.
Yeah, but the trouble is that they get the handout, so they're not directly connected to the turnover.
But you'd think they'd want to do everything to increase turnover because that increases the amount of money they get.
Well, the ATC gets the tab distribution, which is constantly falling, and they're holding out their hand to Racing New South Wales for the top up to get to the 85 million that they need to raise every year. They need to raise every year. So they're going, well, if we increase turnover, the only turnover money we get is from the tab, and that's falling, and they're not in charge of the tab.
Isn't the major point with PVL's reign this ridiculous amount of prize money being given out that has to be paid for somehow? Isn't that the core of it all? These new races, all these. We've got like $10 million race for 4-year-olds called the Golden Eagle. Have you ever heard anything more ridiculous? It's got to be paid for. They're just big ideas. The big dance, the little dance. There's something that the girls in the office there would have thought of because they used to get on Eckies and go to dances. Like, it's just all mad.
And I could say, you know what? There's $50 million at least of wasted prize money.
Yeah, of course there is.
Exactly. And the punter has to pay for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and the punter's paying Racing
What PVL has done to Betfair with saying that's a bookie.
Oh, it's a disgrace.
It's an absolute disgrace. It's just so mathematically incorrect. Yeah. Poor Betfair can't make $1 in Australia.
No.
That's not right.
Structurally.
Anyway, PVL reign, there it is. He's looked at this great administrator. Got 10 years there at Harold Park. Well, let's get rid of this joint, take it to Menangle. Oh, great idea, Pete. And then 20 years at the races, and now no one's here. So he's gone zzz, and then zzz.
So what's gonna happen to the NRL in the next 10 years then?
Well, we're fucked. The NRL's gone. That's so funny, God. Anyway, when he leaves this week, I'll be applying for the job.
Sounds good.
The racing, never had a job in my life, but fucking know what I'm doing. So
yeah. I tell you what, the flowers in the office will be beautiful, Mark, because he's got a little bit of experience there.
Oh, the forest.
Well, he's got a contact. I don't know about the experience. Yeah. So Keith Banks died a couple of weeks ago, Glenn.
The jockey?
Yeah.
Okay, but he's old, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was old. No, okay, so he died. But no, the point is that he was a famous money rider.
Oh, yeah. See you later.
And of course, that prompted a remembrance of good old Mr. Digby.
Oh, of course he rode Mr. Digby, yeah.
Yeah, so he was the I got no vision, but
you don't know Mr. Digby, do you, Gord?
This is the story.
We were there.
Gord was 2 years old. I wasn't there actually. I was in year 11, but I do remember the kerfuffle. So what happened was that this was the race.
Well, you were running the SP at school or something.
No, well, this was Bank Holiday Monday.
Okay.
Heavy track at Randwick, and they misspelled it in the form guide there. It was Mr. Digby, Keith Banks, and this was its form for the Monday. Ran into a lot of bother in middle stages and produced a powerful late finish for 8 length sixth. That sounds like a Glenn Pollitt form line. On the Saturday before, the 2 Saturdays before.
I think it was on the Saturday before, Mark. It wasn't a 2 day back.
No. I'm just giving you the prelude, right? This is the Monday. This is the Bank Holiday Monday at Randwick, track heavy, and it gets beaten a long way. It runs, so it's 7s out to 8s into 7s, but started 9s and got beaten many lengths in this Bank Holiday 1600 for 3-year-olds. And then on Wednesday, 2 days later, turned up in a no metro 3-year-old race over 1900. So it raced over.
Can you just go back? I want to look at the prize money. 4,000 first. Thank you.
And in that race, I don't know, the pre-post had it at $6, whatever that means. It was 7-2 into 11-8. I'll read the in runnings. It said last under restraint on settling, fourth 1200, swept around the field soon after, take commanding break upon straightening. Doesn't sound like a Canterbury win to me.
Fuck me, Dad. Look who ran second, James McDonald. He's there again on Diac. He's there, always there fucking me, this James McDonald.
Anyway, the story read, Mr. Digby leaves the bookmakers doubled up. A cool 300,000, maybe more. That was the cost to bookies at Canterbury yesterday to confirm what they'd suspected for some time. Blah, blah, blah. The bookies bled after the 3-year-old Mr. Digby's win over 8 rivals over 1900. It was not so much that the trouble was unexpected, grumbled one rails fielder, rather than it came in such large measure. Mr. Digby was having his second run in 48 hours. He was 9th at Randwick on Monday, was back from 7-2 to 11-8, and one of the most confident commissions in a midweek meeting for years. Blah, blah, blah. He won by 7.5 lengths from I think Tommy Smith's stablemates, Dayak and Cachet. Dominic Byrne, that dinosaur, the rails bookmaker, estimated he paid out 80,000 on Mr. Digby. He had bets of 14,000 to 4,000 and 10,000 to 4,000 among many. Jack Muir lost 30,000. It was the same story with Andy Dederer and Ray Hopkins. Bill Waterhouse, more cautious than the others, faced a $20,000 payout, likewise Robbie Waterhouse. Mr. Digby had not been closer than 4th in his previous 5 starts, but he relished the longer distance yesterday. So he went 18 back to 16, 2-day back up to 19 at Canterbury, weaker race. Harry Clark, his trainer, said that was an awful lot. He didn't have to be outstanding to win. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, so the owner's the famous George Freeman.
Yeah. So Max Presnell writes in his column, the recent demise of former money jockey Keith Banks regurgitated the Mr. Digby scandal, one of the most controversial of our time, or previous times, or in the opinion of George Freeman, a great miscarriage of justice. Of course, Freeman, a major influence on results over the period, was one of the key players, while Keith Banks and Harry Clark, trainer of Mr. Digby, were fall guys. Well, Harry Clark was a very hot trainer. Mr. Digby ran 9th untouched in the market on one of the heaviest tracks seen at Randwick on Bank Holiday, 81. 2 days later, over 1900, he scored by 7.5, back from 7-2 to 11-8. Newspapers headlined a $350,000 coup. Freeman, in his memoirs, reckoned he only won 17 on the day.
That's a lot.
But the Freeman factor kicked in. Politicians and Parliament became involved. Stewards opened an inquiry at Rose Hill under the instruction of the AJC chairman. On September the 9th, so this is now a month after the race, John Marnie, the AJC chief stipe, exonerated connections of any wrongdoing, but there was a query regarding the owner of Mr. Digby and Freeman's involvement. Subsequently, the gelding was transferred to bookmaker Terry Page. However, 2 months after that, the AJC committee reopened the Mr. Digby investigation. Banks and Clark were disqualified for 12 months, and the chief steward quit or was marched from the AJC. The committee also moved on Freeman and asked why he shouldn't be barred from all Sydney racecourses, as in show cause. Freeman took the matter to the equity court and won. allowed onto the racecourse but rarely went. Banks and Clark decided against the appeal because of the expense involved. With the passing of Keith Banks, Mr. Digby flashed back. John Marnie was adamant to me and inquiries that he couldn't take action against the gelding because of the heavy track the 2 days earlier. When he left the AJC as chief steward, he got a job with the STC as a groundsman. Tipped off about it, the Sun, my employer then, sent a helicopter to get a picture of him in his new role. He hid under a truck. So that is...
Different times, though, good.
Oh, those names, they resonate, don't they? It's amazing stuff. My thing is...
most of those bookies are dead. Dominic's not dead, and Ray's not dead, but Ray's in his 90s now.
But what I don't get is, nothing... There was no investigation into any nefarious activity. They placed a horse in the right race
and
to win.
They unloaded on it, yeah.
So who cares? Good work, guys. Did they pay the others to pull up? See, that's nefarious.
Watching the rest, I thought they might.
I haven't. Oh, so we don't have. Oh, so there's no footage, but you remember it?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, it was as fucking hot as mustard, that race. I don't think the other jockeys got paid, but they were told if you fucking even compete, be very careful.
Anyway, that was Mr. Digby. That was
the best instruction I ever heard Freeman give a jockey was he legged him up one day and said, "Son, if you finish in the placings, just keep riding. Don't come back to scale."
Keep riding out the gate.
Yeah, just keep riding
down the road.
Don't come back.
All right. There'll be no 2-day backer uppers on Wednesday. It's at Warwick Farm, Kensington on Friday, Rosehill on Saturday. Thanks for watching the rant.
Yep.
Just a quick note that the rant will be breaking for Christmas in 3 weeks' time. So December the 23rd, there'll be no rant, nor will be a rant on the 30th, and no Saturday preview for the meeting on the 27th. But we will continue the other content, as in tips, mounting yard,
mounting our mail,
prices,
the
chat room.
And we'll be back for our first show on the 3rd of January, the Friday. We'll be doing a preview for whatever it is.
All right. So that's a December roundup. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you through the week, principally on Friday for the Rosehill preview. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do. This guy says the horse can do.